Hello and welcome to this episode of Truth and Tarot Time. And I am super excited today because, as you can see, I have the lovely Liz Nagle and Amy Bird with me. Hello, ladies, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you. Lovely.
So
Yeah.
this is kind of fun and different for us because we're used to connecting together to do the astrologer, the mystic, and the tarot reader, which we have done quite a few times now, with Amy giving us astrology updates and Liz giving us words of wisdom. But I obviously wanted to grab them both and have them on Truth and Tarot Time and just to see what comes up because they're my friends basically, and they're both so full of wisdom. So as are the cards. So let's see what the cards want us to talk about today. Can we have some? Thank you. Thank you. Right. Thank you. Interesting one on the bottom. Not sure what we're
Oh.
going to make of that, girls. Seven
Yeah.
of Wands typically is defensive, but it's more about him having courage and conviction. He's kind of got strength in his own beliefs, but his beliefs might be against the grain, which is why these people are kind of disagreeing with him, but he's firm in his beliefs. So I think there's a lovely message there actually in not letting the masses sway your courage and conviction as to what's right for you. That could be, we've got the eight. Okay, now this is interesting because this is the only card in tarot that has an eclipse. And we've got the eclipse coming up on the 12th of August. So I think that's relevant.
Mm.
We know that cups is emotions and he's walking away. So this is a walking away card. So it does often relate to something in life that we need to walk away from, something that's causing us some kind of emotional situation. It could be a relationship, a job, moving countries, moving something, less associated with identity, but there is an emotion around our shifting identity. I just remembering when I sold the garden retreat. It was a very emotional thing, and that was releasing an identity. So this is something about walking away. We're having to walk away from something, but obviously it's something that we need to walk away from, but it might feel emotional. So that's an interesting one. This is also my trigger card. So I often feel like he's been triggered and he's walking into his cave because he understands that it's got nothing to do with the person who delivered the trigger. They were just, pointing out that he had the trapped emotional energy within him and he's going into his cave to process that. So a good card there. I always think lots of good advice attached to that card. So walking away from something and dealing with our triggers. We've got the Two of Cups, soulmates coming in to help us on our path. I also can be higher self, your higher self and your small self. Um, it can be a romantic card, but there's obviously the lover's card that can do that as well. But also, what I like about this, which I've kind of seen recently, is how opposite they both look. And so I think there is something about some of the people, because it's come on the heels of the trigger. Some of the people that trigger us are very opposite to us. We're looking at them thinking, that's not like me. I don't like that because it's opposite. But it's still a soul connection. Maybe because it's helping us release judgment, maybe because it's helping us embody unconditional love and acceptance. I don't know. This is an interesting one. I'm already really curious to know what you guys are going to say about this, because I think this has got something to do with seeing how different everybody is. Can we still have that unconditional love for them? I think that's quite relevant in the world today as well. And the last card is the Queen of Swords. She's very much the let go card. She's definitely let go of her ties. Whatever he's walking away from, she's done it easily, effortlessly. She can see clearly now. So there's something that we couldn't see. I think that's all connected to what I was saying here about how everybody is a mirror. we couldn't see that before. And we were like, oh, I don't like them, or I don't like that, and doing all that judgment and pushing it away because we don't like it. But really, she can see now how it's all there to serve her. And perhaps there it's triggering emotions that need to be dealt with. Um, yeah, interesting one. So, yeah, any thoughts, ladies?
Um, I do have thoughts because it feels, in some ways, it feels very personal. I don't know, for me. I got that card, the walking away card the other day, and I feel I am walking away from something at the moment in the form that it was. Um, and moving towards more just a feeling of unconditional love and not expecting anything of it, but just a realization that this love is just love. It's just love. And yeah, so I've done a little bit of grieving, but it, to honor it, and that the emotions have come up. But I guess one of the things that I'm feeling from what's been going on with this full moon is that there's been a lot of people kind of going into a quite quiet space, I've noticed over this full moon. And I think that we are in some ways being called to let go of something in order to get to the other side of these eclipses and something else. And so for my personal story, I feel like this needed to be let go of the day before this full moon. There's no coincidence here, and that it's not got no place somehow in what's coming. And I'm very excited about what's coming. It feels like there's a lot about to open up, and that Queen of Swords card feels very much like the Uranus in Gemini energy that's allowing us all to see clearly. And I've got clarity twice in 2 days for my angel card. And it just feels like somehow we're being given the opportunity to see things more clearly, to see our patterns more clearly, and to make different choices. And I'm seeing that across the board from so many people, that like having these realizations of something that they've been battling with for years or that hasn't been conscious, suddenly it being very, very clear. So those two cards, all of those cards feel so personal to me right now that it was kind of eerie. But at the same time, I do think that maybe on some level we're letting go of the Leo South Node, the romantic love thing, and moving forward towards the Aquarian age of the friendship and community a little bit more. And I'm hearing that from a lot of the youngsters and people older than me saying, I'm approaching this new relationship in a very different way. I think I might just be his friend for a while, not get into all this romantic reverie business, and just see where that goes. And it's interesting. I'm hearing that across the board. And then male friends of mine in their 30s being celibate for a while, and just seeing how that goes with relationships. And so this Aquarian nature, it does seem to be, what do we need to let go of in order to kind of move forward into this new age, which seems to be just happening now. So that's my thoughts on that's my thoughts so far anyway. On what
I totally agree with so much of what you've said, Amy. It's all so relevant for me as well. And how about you, Liz?
Oh yeah, like I'm sorry, Amy, not to take them from you, but they were for me, just me as well. There is others, but yeah, the same thing. I had a chat with Deborah about this the other day. It's like, I have this friend who I'm just not putting in a box, of relation. It's just a friendship, and I I'm not putting labels on it. I'm just
Yeah,
refusing to. And it's not that I don't have stories, but I'm just releasing them because they're not relevant. And yeah, it's just, and it's a lovely kind of floating in the ocean, not knowing where you're going to go next sort of feeling. Yeah, very Aquarian, I think. Aquarius is air, but I always think of it as water as well. just going back to the first the card at the bottom of the pack. Yeah, so I think it's like it's a test of our convictions. It's like we think we have a conviction and it's just saying, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? It's like, and it's so I think that that's what the Seven of Wands is all about. It's just testing our own convictions. It's
And it
us.
can go different ways because I've always thought of it as trust your convictions and even if it goes against the grain, but also
Yes.
it's just come to me as you've said that, Liz. If people have been telling you like something and you've been, doubling down or
Resist.
whatever,
Mhm.
and now you've had the clarity, we can backtrack, and having the absence of ego to be able to turn around and say, oh, hey guys, yeah, you were right. I did think that, and now I'm going to make a different choice and a different action. And even if these people all go, told you so, it really doesn't matter.
Other.
I've never said that about the Seven of Wands before.
Mm.
I've always seen it as trust your own courage and conviction, but um, things are changing so much that we're not really sure of who we are. I mean, is this the Neptune in Aries dissolving, so we do need to be open. And what you said, Amy, kind of really resonated with me as well. It's this walking away. Um, I wanted to say it takes trust because we could be walking away from what's been making us money. We could be walking away from relationships that have given us the security and stability. We're walking away from things before something new comes in. And of course, we know that we have to get rid of the old for the new to be able to come in. But we're in that in between stage. And so it's because we can enjoy it and feel the excitement of it because we trust that there's something coming in. And we're not, because I've had this, for me, it was so spot on as well, because I just keep getting this desire to empty my diary and just to keep stopping doing things that I've been doing, like routine things and just yeah, and then not having anything to fill the gap, but just enjoying that. You said people have been this full moon that we're in at the moment, the people have been wanting to be, yeah, quite hermit-like. And
Mm.
I can feel that as well. And I think it's all part of, we actually touched on it before we pressed record, it's all part of getting ourselves ready in some way. But I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure what for.
Yeah. And I feel like that Sabian symbol for the Cancer new moon felt very poignant. A young woman waiting for a sailboat. It's like she has the absolute confidence that the sailboat is coming and spirit, the wind is bringing it. And I was at Buddhafield Festival and everybody was saying the same thing. There was this sense there is something coming, personally, collectively, and we all know it's coming, but we just don't know what it looks like yet. And then this Sabian symbol for this last one was a child being born, emerging out of an egg, being born out of an egg. And it's like, whoa, and now it's, and now it's happening. And then I looked ahead to the one in the eclipse, and it's like something like chickens, intoxicated chickens, like all dizzy trying to fly. And it's like getting all like high on the spiritual energy sort of thing, I think, and just be like, woo. It was a very funny image. Intoxicated chickens. Whoa. Okay. But yeah, it does feel like there is something coming and it's happening. And I got a message from a South African farmer friend, and he didn't go, he was being a bit abstract, but he was saying it's happening. The world is the old way is crumbling. It's really exciting. We're in it now, and he was saying there's no place for the romance side of things. He's like, I'm not even thinking about romantic relationship. It's all about community and and I'm getting that sense that I feel like we've been talking for so long, or at least I have, about this idea of relationship and what it looks like, and how we're entering into a new age of relationship. And I think we're in it now. I think we're actually doing it, and it is actually changing. And this relationship or friendship or whatever that I've just kind of let go of in one form just feels like the epitome of it. It feels like, to me, unconditional love, no expectation, pure love, friendship. And how do we navigate it from here? Because it's obviously one of the most profound loves I've had in my life, or if not the most. And yet it is not supposed to kind of take, at this moment in time at least, not take the conventional form. So where do you go from there? And just being curious. And I think that's where maybe the Queen of Swords, Uranus and Gemini, just says, be curious, expect the unexpected, be open to different perspectives and new ways of looking at things, maybe. So, yeah. So it's interesting that you're experiencing the same thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And there's no
definitely.
rule book.
There isn't. But
And
to
there's no
understand that,
restrictions, there's no boxes to tick.
No,
It's like it's
none.
wide open.
Boundless.
Yeah.
I like the
Yeah.
idea that but on a soul level, they are soulmates come in for the purpose of us experiencing
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's this experience that's giving us this freedom and this clarity. When we talk about walking away, very often the minor arcana are related to like everyday life. But actually, I think one of the things we're walking away from is, I want to say, the old paradigm. I mean, Amy, you've just talked about how it is literally collapsing. And why do we find that so joyful? Because we have the clarity that we are the creators of our own reality, and that we can see through your experiences in Buddhafield and through various community experiences that we have going on, we can see how humanity is rising. It's rising up to the plate of governing itself, I want to say. And because we can see that, rather than getting caught in the, oh, nothing's working, everything's like collapsing. It's like, turning around and seeing. So I see this very much as walking away from the old paradigm,
Yeah.
and stop trying to put a band-aid or a plaster on, stop trying to fix the old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about focusing on and creating the new, which is what I guess we're all doing, right?
Well, I personally feel like I was made for these times. I've been like, all
You
right.
were.
And so it's just been like, okay, in some ways I've been kind of living this. And I was saying the other day, I have all my life I've been capable. I see back into my 20s and my 30s, I've had this capacity for unconditional love in the truest sense, but it has been misconstrued and it has been seen as weakness. And but in this moment, it's making more sense than it ever has before. It's quite exciting, actually. Yeah, so it's an interesting time, definitely an interesting time. Yeah, I feel like I still feel like something is coming, but I keep feeling like something is coming, and then what comes is a little bit more subtle than we think it's going to be. You think it's going to be this big event that happens, but then you see changes happening in the world. We've got a new prime minister, for instance. Things change, like different little things that you go, oh, okay, the world is changing a little bit. And there is that you can focus on all the darkness that's happening in the world and all the things that are wrong, or there's this feeling that the astrology is giving of like a little bit of hope or a lot of hope. And that's on a more subtle level than is obvious to the eye, I think. That's my sense.
I totally agree with you, Amy, that about being born for these times. I mean, definitely, I've always felt like there's something more to the world, there's something more to life, and I've never really known what it is. And and I remember being laughed at by my family. I came back from traveling around the world, and I remember saying something like, oh, I don't know what the answer is, because I had obviously been searching and stuff. And my family just made fun of me, saying, but Deborah, you don't know what the question is. And then everybody laughed. And at the time, I just felt, you know, awkward. But in hindsight, I kept thinking, well, maybe this is a little bit of this energy, but so at least I know there is a question. I mean, the question is, I guess, the meaning of life. Why am I here? Who am I? And why am I here? That's the question, isn't it? But why do so many of us find the need to travel so extensively? And yeah, and like still we don't know what's going on, but we can feel it inside. So that's our soul, isn't it? Because the soul has already orchestrated everything, and we're picking up that excitement from our soul level, right? Because our humans don't have a clue, right? But as long as we're in alignment with what our souls want us to do, I feel like we're going to be okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. We've got so much in Aquarius now, the important ones, the North Node and Pluto. That feels very, very relevant. I mean, as someone, in evolutionary astrology, we focus on Pluto and the nodes, and they're both in there now. So obviously our soul growth collectively, personally, is to move towards that kind of ideal of community, to find our tribe, to kind of connect and have maybe a more like more of the horizontal instead of the pyramid system, the power to the people bit of Aquarius. The revolution, who knows what kind of revolution. And then can't ignore that technology is also a part of this as well. And I've been hearing, I hear a lot when I talk to people about their charts, about what's going on, people talking about the dark side of it. And obviously what's going to happen if AI takes over a lot of people's jobs, there is that aspect to it. But then there's the freedom that can bring. But then someone was also telling me that she, what's the word? She kind of is volunteers at the Citizens Advice Bureau, and how the people in the Citizens Advice are using AI to do their note taking now, and so that they actually have got more time to be with the people. So it's just like you hear the blessings at the same time as and it's, I think you've probably both of you have talked about this before, I know, but I'm feeling more and more like I know it's technology, and there is a part of me that is wary of technology. I don't deny it. But at this point, is AI becoming kind of like a collective conscious? Because everybody's minds are feeding into this thing, and then this thing is growing, and it's got all of our minds in it and all of our thoughts, and it's kind of I find that quite interesting.
I think it is very interesting. And we do need to keep an eye on who's controlling the AI.
Yeah.
I think that's the only danger. AI in itself is just an extension of our own consciousness. It's part of consciousness. There is nothing that is not part of consciousness. So from that, it's neither good nor bad. It just is. And so it is about who's controlling it and what they're doing with it and what they're doing with it to manipulate people's thinking. That's the only danger really that I see with AI. I don't feel threatened by AI in and of itself.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
think it's, I agree with you there, Liz. I mean, it's like anything, it's how we use it. And I think it's important to use discernment and to feel into it. I mean, a good example for me is I haven't got round to it yet, but it's, when the time is right or when the energy flows, I want to do an audio book for Lessons in Awakening. And on Audible or on Amazon, you can have a robot read your book, and I kind of dismissed that one. But now they have a process whereby you just record your voice for a short period of time, and they clone your voice. So then you can do an audiobook in your own voice, but it's done through AI, of course. And I did stop and think about that, and I just felt into it, and there was like no energy, and I couldn't feel any connection with my heart at
Ah,
all. And even though I am, I'm lazy, right? I've got to physically go and record this somewhere, and read the whole book, which I know it will happen when it's meant to, I'm
but you
expecting
have
people
to
to
do it.
read the whole
If
book,
you
and now
want,
I'm going to
if
have
you
to.
want other people to read your book, you've got to be prepared to read it yourself.
Exactly.
Well, yes, but I have read it numerous times, of
I'm
course.
kidding. I'm kidding.
And so, but yeah, it's something to do with, feel into it. Because, if it's going to enhance something, then why not?
Yeah.
But I didn't feel that enhancement. And so, that's not an option for me, at the moment.
No.
But I will wait and see when the time is right, the time will be right. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what we need to do with AI. We need to look at whether it's got to go through the heart, hasn't it,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that brings me back to I was listening to Richard Rudd, and I kind of agree with him that this is the most romantic time to be alive, because we're having to use our heart for to discern everything, for every choice. We're using our heart. So it is a very romantic time. Not romance in the way that we had it in a box, like
Yes.
Valentine's Day with hearts and bows, and you know,
Yeah.
it's not that type of romance. It's real love. Yeah.
That's exactly it. Real love. That has
And
been
heart
the thing in my
coherence.
mind. Real. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
I
and
actually,
balance and harmony. I mean, that's the thing about from the heart, because the heart feels that love that you're talking about. For to feel it, your heart has to be in balance with itself, has to be in
Mm.
harmony.
And
yes.
the two of wands, is it?
Cups.
Cups, two of cups. It to me is like, I was going to say it's like the two hemispheres of the brain, coming together, but it's also the two chambers of the heart, and that toroidal energy that it creates. That
Yeah.
Sorry, that just came to me.
No, to me that is so spot on, because I've literally I thought about this with my Learn to Read Tarot course, and I was doing the first email, and I was just in my flow, and it came out this idea of this masculine and feminine, or left brain, right brain, and I think that's why I like tarot so much, because you've got the left brain meanings of the cards, which you kind of have to learn. It's an intellectual level, isn't it? But then, of course, you're combining it with the wisdom that we naturally tap into, the intuition, when we actually start relaying that meaning. So the meaning is knowledge, but the intuition used to actually align that meaning with the person that you're reading for is intuition, is wisdom, it's right brain, isn't it? And what I love about it is that the result is this beautiful, creative space that is born from the harmony between the two. And I had a little bit of that's why I like tarot so much.
Yeah. I was going to ask you too about like your thoughts on this feeling that we've got the Leo, the romantic love, the Aquarian, which is like a more non-possessive kind of love, a freer love, and that we're entering into this. And yet at the same time, I wonder how many people in our lives there are that we have this extra special love, the real love. And people say, oh, is that person the one, you know? And then there's other people that say there are many ones, you know, in our lives. And I feel for one that I feel like, yes, you can have, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I guess there's this idea like coming up at the moment. There's a lot of the polyamory thing going on, and or the ethical non-monogamy and all of that. And I can see that one person can't meet all of our needs in a way, you know, like that we need our friends, or there's other people that feed different parts of us. But I do wonder at how often that special love comes along, you know? It doesn't come along very often, does it? I don't think. Anyway.
No, it doesn't, but it does, like it does come more, and it can only happen once, or it can happen more than once. And it's different, but to me it's like it's different mirrors, you know. It's like uh, it's a resonance thing for sure, you know.
Yeah.
It's a resonance thing, and so that's why there's like it's like a lock-in, that you know it you get locked into one bandwidth, or one frequency, uh and that, you know, and so you can have that can be a loving relationship, or it can be a very, you know, difficult relationship. But it's you know, you're locked in to that frequency, which helps us to know, well, when it is a loving one, it's like it helps us to understand the expansiveness of our hearts, and um how unrestricted we can be, you know, if
In
when
our love,
in
capacity
our
for
love,
love.
in our capacity for love. Yeah, yeah. And so maybe it's just one person. That I used to say this when, you know, when after Bren had died, and I would look at his photograph and I would feel all this, my heart would just open. And, you know, and in the beginning I thought that was I you know, that he gave me that love, and that how would I, you know, how would I survive in a world without that?
Yeah.
But then you know, I realized I could look at his photograph and recreate that feeling. That feeling would come up again. So then I realized it was within me. It was mine.
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
always mine.
Yeah.
He just reflected it back to me. And okay, if it takes a photograph for to remind me that that's mine, then so be it. I mean, it could be a picture of kittens on a chocolate box cover, you know, whatever it is that makes your heart expand, use it. It's only it's an image to show you, to mirror back
Yourself.
you yourself.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I was thinking that basically when it comes down to it, maybe where we are in this like current paradigm, whatever, is it's not about being chosen by someone, it's about choosing ourselves. And I had a very similar experience to you, where I suddenly realized, oh, that love is my love, and I'm going to put that love inside my heart, and I'm going to take care of it until someone comes along who really knows how precious it is. And that moment in my life was the biggest game changer of all time. Nothing has been the same since that moment. And that was only like 6 months ago or so, so it's very exciting, but it does, I really resonate, because basically it is, when it comes down to it, it's an inside job, isn't it? And that the other person is only reflecting back to us where we are.
Yeah,
and
Definitely.
showing us that.
And I think that's the first step, is to say, it's mine, and I'm going to keep it until somebody comes along who deserves it. But I think the next step, and I think this is what Aquarius is the North Node in Aquarius is prompting us to do, is to say, fuck it, you know what, I'm just giving it out everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm gonna live with this. I'm just giving it all away. I'm giving it all away for free.
And that's where I was kind of getting with all the ethical non-monogamy business of whatever. I mean, there's so many labels for it, but I think that it is that capacity to love someone so fully, and at the same time allow both of you to be completely free.
Yes. When I say,
and yourself.
I'm not saying I'm giving my body away.
No, it's love.
To everybody.
Love.
It's just the love. Just the love. Yeah.
It's so
Just to clarify.
interesting. Yeah, just to make that clear. But yeah, I mean, everything that you guys are saying, it's making me and of course, I'm in a relationship, so this is interesting for me to look at it this way as well. But it is a reflection, and I've talked openly about that. How my first marriage was a reflection of my lack of self-love, and the time in between husband number one and husband number two. That was my learning to love myself, and I think that's kind of very very relevant. But also, it's reminding me of something, and I think it was Liz, I think you put it in your group about Paul Selig talking about his books. And he said that he had a message from someone who said, "Oh, I read your book and my husband changed." And I think that is so relevant, because when you understand that you do the inner work, and there's also this this book that I love is the Love Yourself and It Doesn't Matter Who You Marry. By Ava something beginning with Z, Ava Zorgova or something. I'll put a link in the description to it, because she claimed that, like 70% of divorces, don't need to happen if just one person read the book. And it is about doing the inner work, shall we say. But what you said, Amy, about the freedom, because of course I meet a lot of single people who don't want a relationship now because they perceive it as being a lack of freedom. They're enjoying their freedom. But everyone's different, of course. Every relationship's different. I mean, for me personally, the relationship I'm in has allowed me so much more freedom. And if I look at my growth, and the things that that I've done, and how I feel, the way I've evolved since being in this relationship, it does need the freedom. The freedom is so important. Of course, that's Aquarius as well, isn't it? But I think I've also seen how my relationship it keeps shifting, and it has to go to another level of love, respect, and freedom, which brings in trust, of course, when you're in a relationship. So you've got to have the love, the respect, the trust, and the freedom. But they keep going to another level. And I think it's really important, because I do readings for obviously a lot of people, and people that think maybe their relationship's on the rocks because maybe for one of them they want to move away and open a healing retreat or something. And I end up saying to them, that doesn't mean that your relationship's over. That could mean that your relationship's going into a greater stage of trust and freedom, which you need, and you're both following your soul's blueprint. So sometimes the cards make it quite obvious when a relationship needs to go, and sometimes they make it equally obvious when actually no, it's not the end of the relationship, you're just taking it all to another level. As long as we have the freedom and the security, which all comes from within us, of course, to live the life that our soul wants us to live in this lifetime, then whether you're in a relationship or not, it's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
I think that, and often people looking for a relationship, I find myself doing readings like that, and I'm like, just stay in your lane, doing what your soul wants you to do. If there's a relationship for you, it will come in while you're living and expressing your divinity. You know, if you have to leave what you love doing and you have to go over here on a tangent to find a relationship, no. The right relationship will come in, you know, it might even move in next door, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, I've when you were talking, it was making me think about like the astrology of it, that you've got Aquarius and it is square Scorpio, and Scorpio is deep intimacy and trust. And then it's also square Taurus, which is self-reliance, self-sufficiency, being able to take care of your own needs and your own self-worth, you know. And so I guess my feeling is like, oh goodness, someone said the other day, intimacy, into me see, you know, and that's the Scorpio side of things. And so to have that deep trust and deep intimacy at the same time as this freedom that the Aquarian age is, and that's what I'm yearning for in my life, is that deep intimacy, to be seen, to see the other person, to go to those deeper places. And yet Aquarius is asking for the freedom as well. So it's all very curious how this is all, but I guess it takes deep trust in self and other, even though there is only me, to navigate it all, right?
And trust, not trust,
Trust self.
trust self, trust in yourself. It's not ask, no, nobody is asking us to trust anything or anyone outside of ourselves. And that's where the freedom is. When we trust ourselves, we are completely free. And you know, the walking away card there, Deborah, you know, again, is not, it's not just about walking away from relationships or jobs or situations. It's like you said earlier, it can be walking away from beliefs, and it can seem like we're walking away from independence and sovereignty into the, you know, community and commitment. It can seem like we're walking, yeah, away from independence. I'm speaking for myself here, into commitment, but the commitment is only to ourselves. The trust is only to ourselves, because there is a, you know, because that's the buck stops here. The you know, there's
Yeah.
only.
I'm glad you used the word commitment. I was going to ask earlier on when you guys were talking about
Yes.
this non-romantic relationship. So where does commitment come into it? Because commitment, of course, is the Four of Wands in tarot, which does show the firm foundations and the celebrations of two people coming together for the purpose of co-creation, whether that be a human baby or whatever. But a commitment, but of course, we bring it back to the commitment to self. And I think that's why, you know, what I love about the relationship I'm in is I have the freedom and the opportunity and everything else to follow that commitment to myself. I think that's where it comes from. So and then within that, you can be committed to a relationship, but not, like you said, not hindered. You're not, you know, if it's hindering you or you're hindering them in some way, no. But a commitment whereby, I don't know, where does commitment come in? Where do you see commitment coming in?
Yeah, it's a very interesting one, because I've been considering this a lot. because my North Node is Capricorn in the eighth, which is commitment to something, going deeper with someone. It's exactly where I'm supposed to be going in life. And yet I've got all of this stuff in my chart that is such the free spirit and everything. But yet I yearn for this real love, and how that added commitment. I speak to dear friends who have done that added extra commitment to someone, to their partner or whatever, and it has taken the intimacy and the depth to another level. But then, as you have said, Deborah, it has allowed freedom. There's a freedom that comes from that as well. And so I am grappling with that idea myself. And ultimately, the commitment that I have made recently, inadvertently or as a result of my spiritual path, has led to me committing to spirit, to committing to myself, or to, and that is the deepest commitment of all. And I guess everything else has to fall in line with that, as you were saying. But yes, commitment and the Aquarian age. This is a question. And I'm not sure we have the answers quite yet, but
well, that's when we know it's true. It's when it's a paradox, right? When it's true and untrue at the same time, or it doesn't seem to make sense. That's, to me, that's like, okay, so there's just truth in there somewhere. But you spoke earlier, much earlier, Amy, and it's just coming back to me now about this chasm. I don't think you use that word, but like that we have to just get through this period. And what I'm seeing it's not about getting to the other side of it. It is about going deep into it. Deep, like Scorpio. It's going right down deep into our own hearts and finding that commitment to our true self, which isn't the little self. It's our divine self, and that's what the commitment is, and that's what the love is. And when we go down deep into that heart space, basically, that's what we find. We find our true selves, and so it isn't even then about personal love or self-love. It's just love. It just is. It's the sea of love. We just we get absorbed into that sea.
I think that's super valuable, because also when I asked the question and I'm listening to you guys, what you're saying about this commitment, it made me remember when my husband broke his leg, right? He broke his hip, thigh. It was like a big deal, right? And of course, it came out of the blue. He was in another part of the country as well. It wasn't like a straightforward thing. And I remember at the time feeling grief that my life had been affected so much. It was my commitment to the marriage, obviously, to look after him. And I was meant to be starting a job. I had the animals to look after. My son was at home, but I remember having that grief, as in like, oh, this is my life now. I remember also thinking, so grateful that it was not a permanent thing. But so then I thought, well, this commitment, when you're in a relationship, in a committed relationship, I want to say, or in a marriage, I mean, I don't know, but then looking back, so I lost my freedom is basically, there's a loss of freedom there. But then on the other hand, all of that was a lesson for me. I mean, obviously I was meant to go through that with him. That was obviously part of the soul contract. And that was something that I was meant to grow through. And did I grow through it? I mean, I'd like to think I did, maybe. So that even when the commitment to somebody maybe at first look like it's taking your freedom away, because we don't want to go into this, like, selfish side of it. It's the selfish side of freedom, and But on the other hand, I think our souls choose these experiences. I've also had a similar experience with my son. My soul chose to have an experience like that. It's a soul contract in order for us both to learn and grow. So whatever it might be, whether it's a broken leg or whatever, but you might temporarily feel a loss of freedom or a bit of grief that your lifestyle has changed. But on the other hand, understanding and trusting that your soul chose it for your purpose, for your growth, helps us navigate it, doesn't it? And enjoy that growth. And we have freedom of choice as to how we perceive these things, which I think is also important, no?
Yeah, and commitment doesn't have to be heavy, does it? Commitment can come very naturally. Something comes about that you're like, this feels aligned. I, quote unquote, commit to it, but it doesn't feel too much like commitment because it just feels part of the
Really.
path.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's part of it, it's part of what I want to do. So
Yeah.
it's not heavy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking about it.
Commitment's a funny word for me.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Holy moly. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I have pondered many, many times on it.
Yeah.
But I am realizing it doesn't have to be heavy. Yeah.
No, because it's commitment. When it's
It's
commitment
coming from the
To
heart.
me.
yeah, when it's commitment to my love, my joy, my happiness, my life, my journey, then it's choiceless.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Yeah.
that's the point, isn't it? When if we're helping another in a situation like that, it's got to come from a place of overflow. It's got to come from a place of our own self-love is so topped up that we want to help, we want to be committed, we want to serve, as opposed to from a place of duty or depletion. I think there's your line, isn't it?
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
obligation. Mm.
Mm.
yeah, I'm gonna, yeah, there's nothing wrong with those. There's stories, but when there is, when we're all one, I'm not going to say when there is only me, but when we're all one and we realize that the one with the broken leg is us with a broken leg, then it's choiceless again, and it isn't a distraction, it isn't a commitment. Look, I fall into this myself. I'm just thinking of a particular situation at the moment, but yeah, so there is only us, and we are everyone and everything. And when we remember that there is no separation, then it's choiceless it's not about choosing to help or not help. It's like the action is spontaneous. It just happens. If it's not spontaneous, then that's different. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Thank you. And yeah, thank you both of you for joining me today on Truth and Tarot Time. I think we've done quite well there. I think that's been a great conversation. Well, I've enjoyed it, and it's all about
Yeah.
you. And
Yeah.
and there is only us. So yeah, that's a nice evolved version of there is only me. There is only us. I like that.
I
But
mean,
just yeah, go
the
on.
cards themselves, that they definitely were very poignant and leading
Mm,
in a good way. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Definitely, definitely. And thank you for your astrological contributions, Amy, and your words of wisdom, Liz, as always. Is there
Good.
anything you would like to say or share before we say goodbye?
Nope. Can't think of anything.
No, just thank you.
Oh, we've done it.
So
We've done it justice. We've done it justice. Thank you, ladies, so much. And I look forward to catching up with you soon. And thank you to anyone who has got to the end of the video. We are sending so much love to you all and look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.